I love how Jamie tried to get off of just trend lines there.
Feel like I should show the calc stuff since it's already been previewed.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen one sec. I think it's this one. Um, okay. So as you may have seen a little bit, the calc window up here has changed a bit. For a while, it was just like a content editable span, and now it's a little bit more of an IDE-like experience. So if you start typing, you get the, autocomplete in here. Um, and let's see if we do like, I don't actually need the T function here. Um, but like I can come back and I can get the definitions for these in popovers, so it gives me a little more information. We're considering putting, I was talking to Colin yesterday about putting maybe like actual documentation links and stuff in here because this is an HTML pop-up that I'm popping up here, so we could put whatever we want in there to really help accelerate people. But then we also have the auto suggest. So this is pretty capable. Um, and if I realize I messed up here and didn't add the little bit of a space there, then I can pretty easily pop in and rewrite that calc. We're still popping over this window for legacy reasons, since obviously like these two live side by side for now. But you can see what it's writing under the hood, which is kind of cool, and it's stuff that I wouldn't want to have to write by hand compared to how easy it was to write it there. Um, the next thing to show is this is something that Stephen and I got working over the offsite. So you can now do like spans between columns. This is almost exclusively Stephen's work. I just made the parsing here function. But so if I do like B1 through C5, that would be like the 69 here through this 127 here. And it defines a rectangle around that bit of data. So if I submit that, you'll see that it starts with 69 here, and then we've got the 92, 14, etc., all the way down. And then we also have the next column down to the 127, so the 1576, etc. So this is all of the data in this rectangle. And then, if I wanted to take that and say like sum it, then I should be able to do that. And I can get the sum of like a rectangle of the data and get that as a single number. So that's a pretty big piece of the functionality of Excel, like knocked out there, along with all of the functions and stuff we have. We have a pretty like well-functioning calculation language here where you can actually like do a lot and it's pretty useful. And um, so like really from now, I think a lot of what we're gonna be doing is getting like the interactions feeling nice and everything, but it's pretty fully formed at this point.
It's awesome, Richard. I would love to put a little like a little menu thing in there so you could see the list of functions so people can like so you don't have to like type ahead to know them, but so you could be
Oh,
like
well, yeah. So if I was to hit control space in here, then I can just get them, get the list. So
oh
and
awesome. Yeah,
and
I
you
would
can
love a
see that we have
like
a
a UI
ton.
trigger to that would be awesome
Yeah.
just to be able to see that. And then I love how I think it's Excel or Sheets does like when you like hover over them or you have them over it, it will give you a little bit of like detail, like
Oh
the sort
yeah.
of like the docky bits about like this is what it does. It
Yeah.
takes a this and a that, and so, this is so
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, we don't
Can
have
we
anything quite like
literally
that
link
yet.
it? Can we link it to the Excel docs per
We've talked about it.
Collins?
That's what we
Okay,
talked about. Yeah. Yeah. Is like
And
sweet.
the other thing that'd be nice is a categorical list rather than alphabetical list.
Yeah,
All the
we're gonna
tree
have to dock
functions,
them.
all the
yeah.
manipulation functions together, etc.
Yeah, I
Richard,
think we're gonna need some better UI around what functions are available, but they are all in at least.
you showed that example where you pulled up the edit, and I know obviously that seems like that's a area that we're going to have to refine. Do we have a vision in terms of like, are we going to give access to both the like Excel like syntax and the underlying Omni syntax, or are we going to try to just emphasize the Excel syntax? Like, do we have a view there yet?
This probably isn't a question for me, but I do assume that we're gonna want to let people write calculations in pure SQL as well.
I don't think so.
Really?
I don't think that we should let people do the data table stuff in any SQL at all. We're gonna have to explore, like maybe there's a toggle that you can make it really explicit, but some of these functions will actually collide with SQL. And so
And
my
have, like,
preference
different
would be
data.
like
Yeah.
table is table and SQL is SQL. And maybe there's a way to say like, I want to write SQL over this table that would make easier. But I think not having to think about like that collision ever and just being like, I'm in Excel mode post process, but we're gonna have to figure that kind of stuff out, I think.
And the
Yeah,
collisions you're talking about are like the semantics of some are slightly different in Excel versus SQL.
Count versus count A, I think is my favorite. Like a
Yep.
count in SQL, we think like which things have values. Count in Excel counts numerics, and count A counts values, and like numeric or non-numeric. Like they're literally different functions, and we need this to be like. I want people thinking Excel when they're in the table. Like similarly, like replace in SQL is different than replace in Excel, which looks more like I can't remember substitute or something like that in SQL. Either way, like there's collision, and I would prefer if it was like strict Excel, strict SQL. Though maybe there's some way to invoke like I want to write SQL over the table, where people want to change stuff.
And like the sort of the dual like editing process too could very easily be something like we've got the custom editor on the right, custom field editor on the left hand side where you write SQL, exclusively SQL, or maybe we expose YAML at some point there too, which we've talked about, or the inline table editing, what send it today, but like could be inline, column definition or something like that could be natural. And I do think we want to make it really like it's a differing use case. We sort of don't want to confuse the user. But also too, I'm so insanely excited about this. This is incredible. Like this is just game changing from an analytics perspective. There's no better self-serve experience than Excel. This is incredible.
Yeah, maybe a question on that delineation between the SQL and the calcs. Does that mean that that's probably something we might permission on as well? Because I could see people wanting to do the calc version and not the SQL version.
So yeah. So I don't think we ever want to block anyone from doing post processing in the table that can write queries. So like no permission on doing Excel stuff. If we let people write open-ended SQL on things, I think that goes into like our SQL style permissions.
Yeah.
Colin is another way of saying that, like, even if you only have view level access, which is literally like the least access you can have to something, you can still write calcs.
Assuming that you can construct queries. So
Okay,
like
so that'd be more
viewers can't make new stuff. So, but anyone that can make new stuff, even if they can't make net new stuff from the database, I think should be able to manipulate result sets in any way. So like essentially if you can make a chart, you should be able to make a calc because it's just like a direct interpretation of data that you already have access to.
And the reality is that user, if they want to do that, they're just going to go to tab and download and pull it into Excel or Sheets anyways. So